These are three markets where Rolex, the Swiss luxury watchmaker founded in 1905, dominates like no other luxury brand. New watches with years-long waiting lists, a thriving secondary market worth billions, and even counterfeit replicas that fool experts. While most luxury brands struggle in one or two of these areas, Rolex has created such overwhelming demand that every version of their watches, authentic, pre-owned, or fake, represents a multi-billion-dollar industry. In 2024, Rolex produced 1.18 million watches worth over $10 billion, each equipped with COSC-certified superlative chronometer movements like the caliber 3235 and the caliber 4130, yet this still was not enough to meet global demand. The result is a perfect storm where genuine scarcity, manufactured exclusivity, and cultural obsession have created three parallel markets that all point to one undeniable truth. Rolex is not just a Swiss watchmaker anymore, it has become the foundation of an entire economy. Let's start with the numbers that reveal just how dominant Rolex has become. According to the February 2025 Lux Consult and Morgan Stanley report, Rolex controls 32% of the entire luxury watch market. To put that in perspective, their closest competitors, including Swatch Group brands and LVMH's luxury watch division, barely reach double digits. With an estimated retail value of 15.5 billion Swiss francs, Rolex generates more revenue than many countries' entire GDP. But here is where it gets interesting. Despite this massive success, Rolex actually reduced production in 2024, the first time they had done this since the 2008 financial crisis. They made 60,000 fewer watches than in 2023, dropping from 1.24 million to 1.18 million units. Yet their sales still rose 5% due to premium pricing and what industry insiders call improved product mix. This strategic approach aligns with the Hans Wilsdorf Foundation's long-term vision for the brand, emphasizing quality over quantity. The 2023 Bucherer acquisition further demonstrated Rolex's commitment to controlling their distribution network. One executive summed up their approach perfectly: "We try to produce one fewer watch than there is demand for." It may sound cheeky, but it is actually brilliant branding psychology. By maintaining deliberate scarcity, Rolex has created a situation where demand consistently outstrips supply, keeping their brand positioned as the ultimate status symbol. Consider the most coveted models. The Submariner accounts for just 12% of Rolex's annual production, roughly 150,000 units worldwide. The legendary Daytona, powered by the in-house caliber 4130 movement, represents only 10% of output, or about 110,000 watches annually. Some experts suggest the actual Daytona production might be even lower, with only 20,000 to 30,000 pieces crafted each year. When you are talking about a global population of nearly 8 billion people, these numbers represent true scarcity. This scarcity has created what industry analysts call the waiting list reality. But here's the thing about Rolex waiting lists: they do not actually exist in the way most people think. Rolex officially states they do not distribute watches directly to customers, and they do not keep waiting lists. Instead, authorized dealers maintain what is essentially a soft hierarchy of preferred clients based on purchase history, loyalty, and whether a buyer is likely to keep the watch rather than flip it for profit. The system works like this. Most authorized dealers do not operate on a first-come, first-served basis. Instead, they evaluate customers based on their spending history, relationship length, and perceived commitment to the brand. Some people wait 5 years and never get the call, while others are offered a Daytona within 6 months. Not because they are lucky, but because they have already spent $100,000 or more with that particular dealer. Recent data suggests these wait times are finally improving. As of mid-2025, wait times for models like the Submariner, the GMT Master 2, and the Explorer are shorter than they have been in years. 2 years is probably the longest you would wait for a standard black Submariner, and an increasing number of collectors report getting them within weeks or months. But this improvement has not dampened demand. If anything, it has shifted attention to even more exclusive pieces. While people wait for new Rolexes, the secondary market has exploded into $16.7 billion. That's not a typo. $17 billion in measurable sales of pre-owned luxury watches in 2025, representing 36.4% growth year over year. Rolex commands over one-third of this entire market, generating $5.7 billion in secondary sales alone, according to data from WatchCharts and Chrono24, the leading price-tracking platforms. To understand how massive this has become, consider that secondary market sales now represent roughly 50% of new watch sales and are rising fast. Retail sales of new watches were estimated at around $50 billion last year. When you add over-the-counter sales, offline transactions, and deals conducted through messaging apps like WhatsApp, the secondary market is worth close to $25 billion annually. The most remarkable aspect of this secondary market boom is not just its size, it is the prices being paid. Some Rolex models have appreciated by more than 600% since 2010. The Everose Gold Daytona 126525LN, with a retail price of approximately $72,000, now sells for nearly $420,000 on the secondary market. That is a 483% return over retail, making it a better investment than most stocks. Even more accessible models show impressive returns. The yellow gold Rolex Daytona with green dial, nicknamed the John Mayer 2.0, retails for $48,400, but currently sells for around $115,000 on the secondary market. These are not isolated examples. They represent a systematic repricing of Rolex watches based on their cultural cachet and investment potential. Recognizing this opportunity, Rolex launched something unprecedented in December 2022, their Certified Pre-Owned program. For the first time in the company's history, Rolex officially entered the secondary market. By 2025, Rolex certified pre-owned sales totaled $590 million, representing roughly 11% of total second-hand Rolex sales through unauthorized channels. The program expanded rapidly throughout 2024, growing from 25 stores worldwide to 107 doors by year's end, offering close to 7,500 watches. Total inventory among all Rolex-certified pre-owned retailers reached 8,500 watches by the end of July 2025, with a total value of around $190 million. In the third quarter alone, 8,395 watches were sold by Rolex-certified pre-owned retailers at a total value of $178 million. But the most telling indicator of Rolex's cultural dominance is found in the third market, counterfeits. Research by black market intelligence specialist Habascope estimates that 40 million counterfeit watches are sold globally each year, generating roughly $1 billion in net profit. According to Business Insider, 23.3 million counterfeit watches are circulating in the US alone, more than Rolex has sold worldwide in the past 15 years. The sophistication of these fakes has reached alarming levels. Watchfinder & Company estimates that 5 years ago, around 80% of fake watches could be identified just by examining the outer case. Today, only 20% can be discovered this way, and 80% require in-depth inspection by experts who verify COSC certification and examine movement components, like the caliber 3235 silicon parachrome hairspring. Arjen van de Waal, the chief executive of Watchfinder & Company, reports that up to 10% of timepieces received from sellers last year were fakes, with Rolexes being the most frequent knockoffs. Of all luxury watches sent to Watchfinder, at least half of those identified as fake or containing fake parts were Rolex. This is not necessarily a problem for Rolex. If anything, it is a twisted form of flattery that confirms their position as the most desirable luxury watch brand in the world. The fake market has been enabled by technological advances, including 3D printers and CNC machines, making replicas more convincing than ever before. Technology has closed the gap between counterfeit and original. Watches now account for almost 20% of all counterfeit sales globally. Some estimates suggest that between 30 and 50 million fake watches enter the market annually, a staggering number that dwarfs legitimate luxury watch production. Rolex takes counterfeiting seriously, partly because of their unique philosophy about authenticity. Unlike nearly every other product manufacturer, Rolex considers any watch with non-approved parts to be counterfeit, even if the base watch is genuine. Replace a single component with a non-Rolex part, add any custom modifications, and an otherwise legitimate watch becomes what enthusiasts call a Frankenwatch in Rolex's eyes. Despite these challenges, or because of them, Rolex's financial performance continues to defy conventional business logic. In 2021, the average price of a Rolex was 11,500 Swiss francs. By 2024, that figure had risen to 13,140 Swiss francs, a 14% increase in just 3 years. Rolex implemented additional price increases of 3 to 8% in 2025, with precious metal models experiencing the highest adjustments. The solid gold versions of the Rolex Daytona saw a 12.9% increase, while two-tone models like the Datejust experienced an 8% rise. In the US market, luxury Swiss brands, especially Rolex, have raised retail prices by up to 20% to offset increased tariffs and costs. Yet, demand remains robust. This pricing power reflects Rolex's unique position in global markets. While overall Swiss watch exports fell 2.8% in 2024, the first decline since 2020, reaching 26 billion Swiss francs, Rolex bucked the trend. The United States emerged as the leading destination for Swiss watches, with exports growing 5% over 2023 to hit 4.4 billion Swiss francs. The market has not been without volatility. A U.S. import tariff of 39% imposed on Swiss watches since August 2024 increased pressure on the industry. The U.S. market showed unusual patterns as a result, with April 2025 recording a 150% increase over the prior year as manufacturers and retailers front-loaded shipments ahead of anticipated tariffs. Meanwhile, Asia presented challenges, with China seeing exports contract by 25.8%, a stronger decline than during the COVID pandemic. This forced Swiss watch manufacturers, including competitors in the Richemont Group and the LVMH portfolio, to rely more heavily on Western markets, particularly the surprisingly resilient U.S. economy. The secondary market has also shown signs of maturation after years of explosive growth. Prices for the holy trinity of Swiss watches, Rolex, Patek Philippe, and Audemars Piguet, fell 4.9%, 6.5%, and 7.4% respectively in 2024, following a rough 2023 when Rolex prices fell 8.2%. This represents a market correction from pandemic-era speculation rather than fundamental weakness. Balazs Ferenczi from Chrono24 explains the shift. The numbers tell a clear story: the tourist investor has left, and the true collector is back in charge. We see this in the data: a 13% jump for Vacheron or a 9% rise in rectangular watches happens because enthusiasts are refining their tastes, not chasing quick flips. This trend toward authentic collecting rather than speculative trading has been influenced by generational changes. Gen Z buyers are pushing the market beyond steel sports models, preferring slimmer, design-driven timepieces. Their influence has led to a four-fold increase for brands like Cartier, propelling the Maison to unprecedented popularity levels. Yet despite these market shifts, Rolex maintains its commanding position across all three markets. Whether someone is buying new, pre-owned, or even unknowingly purchasing a counterfeit, they are participating in an economy that Rolex has essentially created through decades of careful brand building and strategic scarcity. Looking ahead, the fundamentals supporting Rolex demand remain intact. Sales in the luxury watch market are expected to reach 58.06 billion euros in 2025, growing to 70.23 billion euros by 2030, representing annual growth of 3.82%. As Charles Tian from Watch Charts notes, long-term, rising retail prices could result in greater demand for PRE-owned Rolex watches as their value proposition becomes stronger. The Rolex phenomenon represents something unprecedented in luxury goods, a brand so desirable that it has created sustainable demand across legitimate, secondary, and even counterfeit markets simultaneously. Whether you are waiting years for a genuine Submariner with its CO-SC certified movement, paying premium prices for a pre-owned Daytona, or unknowingly buying a sophisticated fake. You are participating in an economy built around a single Swiss watchmaker's cultural dominance. In the end, Rolex has achieved what every luxury brand dreams of: creating genuine scarcity in a world of abundance, maintaining premium pricing power regardless of economic conditions, and building such strong brand desire that even fake versions command serious money. They have proven that in luxury goods, perception truly is reality, and they have mastered both better than anyone else in the world.